From now on, we are enemies. You and I.
And we've got Saurians, however they want to be pronounced. They've got a close range, a medium range, a far range, and a very close range. At medium range, they do that jump with the plummet spear to the ground. Close range, they'll do either the spear straight ahead thrust or a swing thrust with a secondary swing thrust like that. Not always, sometimes they'll just do a single swing. And there's a double jab. Both are at close range. That one was a bit of a run and a double swing. Mid-range, jump and plummet. Behind the tail, they'll attack with the tail. Sometimes they'll attack with the tail, followed by that spear swing as well. At very close range, they will kick, or they'll do that as well. That was just a tail with no swing. And the spit is usually more so for the far distance. Along with that move as well, they'll run and do a lunge, usually at far distance. You can convince the mid-distance jump and plunge into the ground with a spear, which leaves them vulnerable to a tail removal. Once the tail is removed, then they no longer will attack you. They typically just run away. And the giant Saurians are just a larger version. Pretty much everything stays the same, the attack patterns, the range. Another good opportunity to remove the tail is when they do the spit animation. They're left vulnerable at that point. They are also vulnerable for knockdown and stagger when they do their jump animation. And when they call for backup like this, another good time to remove the tail. The giant Saurians' tail removal is the same as the smaller ones. They will tend to just run away and never attack. Sulpher Saurians are the same as regular Saurians with their attacks. They do tend to do more kicks up close, and they do tend to do spits more often. They have the capability to cloak themselves invisible, which makes it a little more difficult to know exactly what attack they're doing. And like the other Saurians, once the tail is removed, they will also run away and not attack. That goes for the smaller ones or the larger ones. There's only 2 of the Saurian species that will attack without their tail. The Sage Saurians and the Pyrosaurians. Geosaurians are the upgrade. They get a few new attacks. A different lunge attack. That's the kick with a spear at first. They could also do the regular kick as well. They spit fire instead of poison. Any of the Saurians that have the shield up where their spear is held and they're blocking can be broken with a shield slam or mighty bend, staggering skills. This is a new charging attack where he runs at you and thrusts with his head. You see this with Sage Saurians as well. And then they spit the fireball like the Hellhounds do. They'll often use the crawling, running lunge attack more often than the regular Saurians. Saurians are usually resting when you encounter them. So if you approach slowly, their first attack will be the jump, dodge, remove the tail. The Sage Saurians have the invisibility cloak as well, but they become visible just before they attack. The Sage Saurian casts a spell to increase his defenses, and he will usually do that at mid to far range. It's a great time to actually get in a few attacks. They rely more on frontal attacks. The Sage Saurian will continue to attack without his tail. He just has no longer access to his spell to increase defenses. And the usual spit attack that they'll do. The crawling, running lunge has pretty good reach. The larger the lizard. An additional short lunge for the Sage. Kick for very up close. And they have a new long distance lunge that is somewhat difficult to avoid. They can change direction pretty easily. Here's the new long running charge. Very close lunge. Very close lunge. The Pyrosaurians can be extinguished with water through a flask of water or a barrel of water like this. Move in slowly and wait for him to jump, or wait for his animation to start and then move in. Extinguish. He is limited to attacks because he doesn't have a spear. So he relies on lunges and tail. He can be put back on fire with immolation if he is in fire like that, or if he's attacked with a fire spell or fire enchanted weapons. A flask of water will put him right back out. While he's extinguished, he cannot shoot fire, so he relies mostly on that short lunge, or mid-range lunge, or kick, or tail. He also has the long running lunge, like the Sage Saurians have. and this is the long distance running lunge. It is difficult to avoid, dodge, or block. Alright, let's get his fire back on. Now he's able to shoot fire from his mouth. And if he is in immolation, that will be his primary attack method. Now we could remove the tail right now, but we would take fire damage. So it's a good idea to extinguish him with water, then remove the tail. But then he can still be put back on fire even without his tail attached. Since the fire breath animation is so long, that's pretty ideal to prepare for the water extinguish. Now, without a tail, he will continue to fight. He can regain his immolation as well, which then he can breathe fire again.